And we are back. これはですね、アメリカトゥデイのコメント読み上げる番組です。最近やりだしたんだけど、みんなからもらったコメントをちょっと英語で読んで、それについていろいろちょっと話したいと思います。This show is all about reading comments that I receive on my America Today program. So this show is called The Voices of America Today. Your voices. So let's read a couple of these comments.And let's get started here. New screen recording. Start. 最初に来たこのコメント。この間僕が話した GNH. I talked about the GNH, which is the index in Bhutan. So, Bhutan. The GNH is abstract. What is happiness considered to be?Apparently, this index went down in Bhutan after the country opened up to the internet. It also is said that over the past 10 years, drug addiction has become more widespread in the country. Yeah, this is actually an interesting topic. Let's read here. Bhutan's gross national happiness. The GNH, ね。GNH の訳。Gross national happiness, is a philosophy and development framework that prioritizes the well-being and happiness of its people over purely economic measures like the GDP, which is the gross domestic product. It was introduced in the 1970s by the fourth king, Jigme Shingi Wangchuk, who famously said, "Gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product." Very nice. Sounds like a nice king. And in the 70s, it was probably a good thing. It's built on 4 core pillars: sustainable socio-economic development, cultural preservation, environmental conservation, and good governance. These guide Bhutan's policies. So that is their plan, their style, and how they calculate the gross national happiness is a little bit complicated. There are 9 domains, 9 themes or 9 topics which they judge: psychological well-being, health, education, time use, cultural diversity and resilience, good governance, community vitality, ecological diversity and resilience, and living standards. Each domain has specific indicators, 33 in total, like life satisfaction, literacy, or forest cover. Surveys conducted every few years assess how sufficient people are in these areas, categorizing them as deeply happy, extensively happy, narrowly happy, or unhappy. In 2022, the GNH index was 0.781 out of 1, up 3.3% from 2015, with 48.1% of Bhutanese classified as happy. So, almost half, 48.1% of the Bhutanese people are happy. So, yeah, I don't know. It would be nice if it was more, but it's still pretty good. So I thought that was kind of interesting. What's my next comment? 今後の世界の経済がどうなっていくのか、不安でもありますね。特に中国との関税争いは一番気になりますね、というコメント。トラさんが関税を薬に例えたのですが、薬ならリスクもあるはず。よくわかってるね。薬にはリスクあるよ。どんなリスクを伴うのでしょうか。はい。ちょうど今日のアメリカトゥデイ、今レコーディング終わったところだけど、その話ばっかりでしたね、今日は。かなり大きなリスク当たりましたね、今回。そして急遽、中国以外の国、一時停止かけることになりましたね。Let's read this one in English. Trump's tariffs are being covered every day, and I'm worried about what will happen to the world economy in the future. I'm especially worried about the tariff battle with China. It seems that he had a phone call with Ishiba in Japan. Tora-san compared tariffs to medicine, but medicine must have risks. What kind of risks do they entail? Even so, Neil's imitation of Tora-san is so good that it has the oblate effect of easing such anxiety. Is that so? You like my impersonation of Trump? I appreciate that very much. Thank you. And I'm glad it eases your anxiety. I don't think you need to be too worried. If you watch the news a lot and if you listen to the news, it's very easy to receive a lot of stress, to feel a lot of stress just from listening to the news, because most of the news is bad news. In general, the news and the narrative presented in the news is meant to keep everyone in fear, to keep everyone afraid, to make everyone feel risk. That is the plan. That is what the news is trying to do. So I think the best thing is to not become completely absorbed in the news. You have to keep your distance. Keep away a little bit. Look at it from a distance, or just watch America Today. And then we can have fun and we can learn from the news while having a laugh. I think that's very important. Yes. 観光関係、この間僕いろいろ何日間話したら結構熱いコメント来ました。昨日かな、桜の木を思いっきり揺らす人の映像も紹介したんだけど、それに関するコメントも来ました。Although foreigners who come to Japan for travel and other reasons are helping to drive the economy, we cannot overlook their actions that are not compatible with Japanese culture and their disrespectful comments. Neil, who has lived in Japan for a long time, what do you think of the sakura tree? The sakura tree. So this is what I introduced yesterday. It was a video of a tourist. It's hard to tell. Maybe someone from China. I don't know. It was an Asian tourist. And, they had the phone and they were shaking the sakura branch violently, and all the petals of the flowers are falling, and they were taking a selfie with the phone, and you could see that there was no respect for the tree, no respect for the beauty, no respect for the nature, and just purely self-absorbed, only caring about getting the video and getting the photo or whatever. So it was kind of a disgusting scene. So yeah, it does not make me, it makes me unhappy too. And maybe it's a small thing. Maybe the tree doesn't care. But it's a public place. Everybody wants to enjoy the beauty of the flowers, and it's just kind of rude to violently shake a sakura tree. So I thought it was quite terrible. Another comment says, I think Japanese people have a special feeling for cherry blossoms. We admire cherry blossoms in full bloom, and also when they fall. I think each person has their own thoughts as they gaze upon the scenery. This is a very beautiful comment. It's like a little poem. これ日本語で読むとどういう感じかな。日本人は桜に特別な感情を持っていると思います。満開の桜、そして桜の散る様もめでるのです。めでるのです。その情景を眺めながらそれぞれがそれぞれの思いを発生するのではないでしょうか。素敵ですね。英語でも日本語素敵なコメントです。そうなのよ。だからこそね、一人がね、それをもううわーっと木揺らしてね、葉っぱを落としちゃうと、その後来た人かわいそうですよね。そうなんですよ。Terrible, terrible, terrible. Another one. Your actions are unsightly and detract from the atmosphere. Even if Japanese people think it, they probably won't say it out loud. It's difficult to express it well in English, and it's a mystery if people will understand. They might have no choice but to say something like, "Please stop. The cherry blossoms are so pitiful." かわいそうですね。かわいそう、かわいそうだからやめてあげてって、この日本語がね、英語で pitiful になるんだけど、ちょっと意味が変わっちゃうんですよね。pitiful has a different feeling. What would we say in English? Please stop. これ英語は難しいね、確かに。That's a tough one. I don't know what I would say in English for that, in that kind of situation. Someone is violently, shaking a branch of a tree and you want them to stop. Hey, don't do that. Look what you're doing to the tree. The tree does not like that. I would say something like that. The tree is not happy. You're not making the sakura tree happy. Stop. You're being an asshole. それが一番いいかもね。Hey, stop being an asshole. それでいきましょうか。This one's kind of covered up. Let me try another one. One more. This is another beautiful one. これはちょっと俳句のようなコメントが来ました。自然を受け入れ、自然と共に生きる。真自然を意のままにしようと思う心。Wow! How about that one in English? The heart that accepts nature and lives with nature. The heart that wants to control nature. Oh, なるほど。I like that. はい。いいね。That's very Japanese. Very Japanese. 自然を受け入れ、自然と共に生きる。I like it. The heart that accepts nature lives with nature. Beautiful. Great comment. Thank you so much. This one was about the Pidgin English. 昨日紹介した Pidgin English. Pidgin English. What does it say here? It was interesting that you featured Pidgin English. I've heard people speaking it in many countries, but I thought it was an accent, and I didn't know that there was a name or category for it called Pidgin English. It's true that it can be considered a different dialect, like the Tsugaru dialect in Japan. I thought that people who speak Pidgin English had a different way of pronouncing or pronunciation, but the spelling is different too. I wonder how the battle with China will turn out. これトピックがここで変わっていますね。As others have written, this is also a sign of the dismantling of the deep state. I think it's okay to think that the fact that the mainstream is criticizing it is the right answer. Very nice. Yeah, this Pidgin English that I talked about yesterday, I was also really amazed and interested. I had no idea. I had no idea that the BBC or any kind of media was written in Pidgin English. So I found that really unique and fun. Apparently, there are millions of people who speak Pidgin English. So the BBC feels that it's a large enough market to create media, to do their news stories translated into Pidgin English for those people. So I think that's a really interesting thing, and I'm going to need to practice my Pidgin English. Maybe I'll speak more in the future. This is これ紹介したね、さっきね。はい。Let's introduce this comment. これが日本語で、これが英語か。Even though I'm from the Tsugaru area, I find it difficult to understand the Tsugaru dialect my grandparents use. A while ago, a young man who seemed to be from the Misawa U.S. military came to the Nebuta festival and kept throwing out the F word. And now I think I should have told him off. 面白い。津軽弁。津軽で生まれたのにじいちゃんとばあちゃんの津軽弁あんまり理解できてないんですね。So you find it hard to understand your grandparents' 津軽 dialect. That is interesting. That is interesting. Maybe you moved away when you were young. そしてこの後半の話。Yeah, this is a real cultural thing. この多分三沢の基地から来た、アメリカの軍人がねぶた祭りで F word っていうのはファックですね。ファックだファックだなんだかファックだって多分言ってたんですね。それがちょっと聞いてて嫌だったんですね。その時なんか言えばよかったと。難しいね。There's many reasons why someone from America might use the F word. Yes, the F word is considered a bad word. It's not a polite word. But in 2025, it is very common. Some people will use the F word like Japanese people use words like namara. In Hokkaido, we say namara oishii or namara omoshirokatta, namara saiko. This has the same feeling for how some Americans will use the F word. Dude, that was fucking cool. Oh, look at that. That's fucking amazing. Oh, look at that. It's so fucking beautiful. こういう感じね。If someone is using the F word in that way, they're not being mean, they're not being nasty, they're just speaking in a very street style, a very guttural way of speaking English. So it depends. If someone is being mean or saying nasty things and saying, oh, fuck you, fuck that, you know, that's not very nice and you might want to say something. So it really depends. You have to be careful. Yeah, you have to be careful. You don't want to yell at someone and then get punched. So be careful. Do we have a couple more? あと2つですね。Two more comments. 最近知った話ですが、警察の犬はお仕事しているので、1頭2頭と数え、と仕事していない犬は1匹2匹と数えるようです。そうなんだ。I did not know that. So the other day I talked about how counting animals or counting things in Japan is very difficult. In Japanese is very difficult because depending on what you count, the word changes. And yesterday I talked about crocodiles and how they were being auctioned off. And I didn't know how to count crocodiles in Japanese. So I said ippiki, nihiki, which is the way we normally count dogs. In Japan, you would count one dog is ippiki, two dogs is nihiki. So this comment says, I recently learned that police dogs are counted as itto or nito because they are working dogs. But non-working dogs, just normal pets, are counted as ippiki, nihiki. Wow. It gets even more confusing. Why Japanese people? So if a dog is a working dog, we have one way of counting it. If a dog is not working, we have another way of counting it. How incredible. That's amazing. Thank you for your comment. And finally, let's go and wrap it up with this one from Snow White Chrysanthemums. In the next election, let's drive the LDP, Komeito, and the Democratic Party out of the diet and stop over tourism. Let's raise the entry tax to Japan to about 50,000 yen and stop low-quality tourists. C and K are separate. 10 million yen. Oh boy. Somebody's got a plan here. I like your plan. Okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting plan. So, first of all, you want to make a very large change to the Japanese government. I can see that. The Liberal Democratic Party, Komeito, and the Democratic Party. Is the Democratic Party is Jiminto? Get them all out of government and stop over-tourism. Wow, this is a big plan. And then this person wants to raise the entry tax to Japan to about 50,000 yen per person. I kind of like this idea. What do you guys think? Over-tourism has become a really huge topic here in Japan. Some areas are really having to deal with some crazy situations. So many people. By the way, I just reserved my hotel for my trip to Tokyo on the 18th. I'm flying to Tokyo on the 18th. I have a seminar on the 19th. And I was shocked at how expensive the hotel prices were. I really struggled for about 2 hours today to find a hotel that was still expensive. I had to actually get a hotel quite far away in Kawasaki area. So about 30 minutes or more by train to central Tokyo. And it was still quite expensive. The cheapest hotels, of course, were capsule hotels or hostels, like a youth hostel style, a shared room. But even the shared room prices were about what I remember the prices being maybe like 3 or 4 years ago here in Japan. So it has been amazing to see how the cost, especially of hotels, has gone up so high. I think for the tourists, it's not so expensive. It's comparable. And the yen is still quite weak. So for tourists with American dollars, the prices probably look pretty normal. But for people who live and work here in Japan, those hotel prices are extremely expensive. So there are a lot of problems. And this idea of charging an entry tax into Japan, it kind of goes with my plan to turn all of Japan into a sort of Karuizawa, like a resort town for the whole world. So I like it. I like your plan. Let's charge everyone a flat fee of 50,000 yen to enter Japan. And then maybe we can lower the prices of some things like hotels so that those of us who live and work here in Japan can still afford to travel and enjoy this beautiful and amazing country. いいね。C and K, 10 million yen. 厳しいですね。I like your plan. Okay, that's going to be it for today. 今日のコメントはここまでにしたいと思います。Hope you enjoyed that, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow with another episode of America Today. And if you send me more comments, I will read your comments as always. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much. それでは、that's going to be it for today. また明日ね。バイバイ。